We're going to talk about Lightning Network, which nobody talks about. And that was kind of the point of this really excellent piece from Jeff Wilzer. So Lightning Network is a layer 2 solution for moving Bitcoin really fast and really cheaply. It's been in development since 2015, and really like the technical works of it have been kind of out since like 2017 or so. There's 3 teams working on it, mostly led by Lightning Labs, which is Elizabeth Stark's production. And they're saying it's ready and it's good to go, and people need to know about it. And it's an interesting story here. Like, I would definitely go read it if you have some time, because you kind of get a feel for the Lightning ecosystem and how underappreciated it is. I know from using Lightning myself, it's very fast, very quick. It's just like seamless. Had no issues with it, just buying coffee or whatever. But there's zero adoption of it, which kind of brings up a lot of other questions, like, will Ethereum layer 2 solutions get adoption, or will people just not care? Will other tech projects coming out in the future, will they get adoption, or do people just not care? So it's interesting to kind of like look at Lightning within the adoption landscape. And just the fact that like you have these battles between different cryptocurrencies, and Lightning's always kind of touted by Bitcoin maximalists as a solution for moving Bitcoins cheaply. And people always deride it, saying it's not a viable product, but it is. People just don't understand that. And so at the same time, that makes it not a viable product because nobody's using it. So I want to toss it down to Zach to get your thoughts on Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that headline could have run any time in the last 3 years, and that would be my only knock on this piece. It's still this perspective thing that is out there. Like, as you said, Will, it's not fully embraced as a vehicle for making Bitcoin payments. And I think it's also because, again, Bitcoin as an asset has sort of like established itself as the prevailing narrative as Bitcoin has risen in prominence over this last bull run. So I think it's really interesting. The technology obviously like represents the capacity for Bitcoin to be what it was envisioned as, you know, that peer-to-peer electronic payments network. And should that come to pass, that'd be a really powerful realization for a money that is not confined by national borders. I'm going to throw this to Christine, though. I mean, Christine, I know you've kicked the tires a little bit on the Lightning Network in research capacity. Like, what's your sort of like top-line assessment of how far off we are from seeing Lightning be that revolutionary thing that it's always been promised to be?
From the last time I checked, the biggest concerns around reaching the hurdles around reaching mass adoption was the technical limitations of the network itself. One of the reasons why people who look into Lightning more deeply than, the tweets that say Bitcoin can be the peer-to-peer payment system it was always meant to be because Lightning, without doing any research, people who really looked into it, I think, realized for the longest time that developers of the Lightning Network themselves were cautioning users, like users of their platform, cautioning against them considering the Lightning Network as ready for deployment, as being more than in an alpha or in a beta version. So last August, which is not that long ago, last August, they increased the amount of money you can send on the Lightning Network. But even then, the developers had said, please continue to consider Lightning as just the best way to move around petty cash, nothing to the extent of life savings. And then I think in October of last year, there were vulnerabilities discovered on the Lightning Network. That was very long-standing vulnerabilities, but it was just reported on CoinDesk in a way that brought them all together. These vulnerabilities included things like griefing, flood and loot, time dilation eclipses, pinning. I know these are all very technical terms, but you can read about it on CoinDesk. And I don't know if any of that has really, solutions for that has really progressed to the point where Bitcoin's secondary network for faster, cheaper payments is ready for the big leagues. I haven't seen much news around that, and that's the kind of headline I want to see. That's the kind of the stories that need to come out for people who know, like, understand Lightning, to think, man, this is ready for marketing to the big players.
So I have, I guess, kind of an observation, but mostly a question. My understanding is that Strike is building on Lightning and that it will specifically be implemented for use in El Salvador. I don't know whether that means, Christine, that there's like still stuff to be developed on the layer that needs to be in place before that's actually practical. But it does seem like that's a big it'll be a significant push forward in adoption. And Lightning does depend on liquidity pools, so that'll be more liquidity if my limited understanding is even vaguely correct. So that's one step forward, at least, it seems like.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have a
there
take on that, but that's ready.
Yeah, it's great to see these businesses building on the Lightning Network. I worry whether or not the technology of that protocol is ready for the kind of applications and the kind of services that they want to deploy from Lightning. But I guess we're about to see, I mean, with Strike and El Salvador saying that Bitcoin is now legal tender, I think we're definitely gonna see the innovation either rise to meet the occasion or crash and burn.
Will, give us your closing thought on Lightning before we wrap this thing
Closing
up.
thoughts on Lightning.
Closing thoughts.
Yeah, no, I
Last
definitely
word.
echo Christine here. I think there's a lot of technical stuff that needs to be discussed with Lightning, and I think it's also interesting to note, looking back 2016, 2017, that the Bitcoin network had this huge civil war around implementing Lightning, and 4 or 5 years later, they're saying it technically works, but there's no adoption. So it's like those past decisions is it going to continue to haunt Bitcoin, or is it going to help fulfill Bitcoin's dream of becoming truly decentralized money?